Hi, tomorrow night, Govannen are playing our 30th anniversary concert at Leicester's historic Guildhall, and the band currently being Dan Britton, Adele McMahon, myself, Chris Conway, Neil Rabjohn, and Roger Wilson. I thought of telling the story of Govannen at the concert, but I think people would rather hear music. But having pieced the story together, I thought I'd tell it here. 30 years ago, Dan Britton and myself saw Adele and her sister Bridget McMahon sing at an acoustic club, and there was something very special about them. We thought they're wonderful harmonizing, and they were quite young then, in their late teens, I guess. And we met them afterwards. So this is our meeting point, was 30 years ago. We're pretty sure of that. Soon after that, there was a big boom in Irish pubs in the city and in other cities across the UK. They were appearing all over the place, and musicians were frantically forming Irish bands because there was gigs to be had. And Dan got together with Bridget and Adele and got a set together. Bridget and Adele worked and played at the Molly O'Grady's pub, and they were performing there and started performing at other clubs and pubs around there. They didn't have a name then, because they were usually Irish Music Tonight or Irish Band. But over time, they came to be known as the McMahons. After that, for the bigger gigs like St. Patrick's and Christmas and New Year's and various things, they brought me in as a fourth member to make a bigger sound. I played my keyboard and my whistles. I played with Dan at the time in a group called singer-songwriter trio, the Storm Thieves, and we go quite a long way back. So that began to happen more and more, and we were slowly becoming a quartet. What happened next was that I was working for a new age relaxation music label, Paradise Music, and recording albums for them, and they asked me for a Celtic album. So it seemed obvious to get Dan, Bridget and Adele on board with that. And the album became Healing Waters and the Legends of the Chalice Well. The Chalice Well being the Chalice Well in Glastonbury, and it's about that kind of myths and legends, and it has Celtic tunes I knew at the time, and but it's got some atmospheric, largely atmospheric music as well. And I put together the backing for the tracks, and they came in and did sessions. That's how it happened then. And also Vicky Clayton played with us. I played in her band at the time, so she also added some atmospheric vocals, as well as Bridget and Adele's fiddle, and Dan played bodhran on it. And the trouble is, we hadn't got a name. It was just the McMahons, and the album was due to come out under my name, but I thought it would sound better under a band name. So I went on the internet and looked up a long list of Celtic gods and goddesses, and I found Govannen, and it sounded like a band name. But also Govannen was a Celtic god who was a blacksmith, and he created impregnable swords and also cups that when you drank from them, all your ills were cured. So what were the healing waters? It seemed to be a good fit, and I don't know, it sounded like a band. I think maybe I was thinking of Dedanan, which is a famous Irish band. So that was done, and we after that we went out as Govannen, as the four of us. What happened next was Bridget married and moved to Ireland, and so Govannen were now just three of us, and we hadn't got anything that sounded like we sounded live, the three of us. So it's a very basic recording. We recorded it, this album, The Water Is Wide. It was just straight off the mixing desk at a pub in Melton Mowbray, the White Hart. And we recorded it before people arrived because we didn't want all the hubbub on it, the sound. So it's funny to have a live album, but the audience only appears towards the end. But it's a nice, honest album of what we're doing. We were making up our own arrangements on the fly, which was exciting and fun to do then. After that, the New Age company Paradise wanted a rhythmic Celtic album, a beaty one. And I think they were thinking of, well, I guess the music of river dance was very popular then. So that kind of thing. So we needed a percussionist, and that was Neil Rabjohn, who played a cajon drum. And we found that the cajon drum and the electronic drums mixed together sounded better than either of them on their own. So we put together Celtic Fire. I really went to town on the arrangements on this. I got completely carried away on it. But this album became our backbone of tunes for quite a long time. Bridget flew over and did some atmospheric vocals as well. And yes, some of the tunes, quite a few of these tunes we still play. And it won an award. I just remembered. That's what this thing is. The COVR award. It's American Organization of Mind, Body and Spirit, trade organization. And yeah, quite a thing arrived in the post. And nice to win an award. Thing is, we needed an album that sounded like we did live. And one thing that Neil did at the time was he ran an acoustic club at Kirby Bella's Village Hall, Leicestershire, and he put us on for a Christmas gig, and it became an annual event, a Christmas Govannen Christmas concert, and people came and they brought their picnics, and the picnics got more elaborate as the years went on, and we would play, and at halftime we would go and talk to our friends around the tables and try and catch some food off them. And we recorded it one of those Christmases, Govannen Live Sniff the Pony. The reason it's called Sniff the Pony is that there is a tune called Saddle the Pony, and for some reason I announced it as Sniff the Pony, which was made us all laugh really, but we thought it would be fun to call the album that and find a pony, put it on the front and say that the pony's name is Sniff, so that's why it isn't weird. That's just a fun live album at the Village Hall. And after that, the Paradise Record Company was very pleased with the Celtic Fire album, and they said we'd like the same but different. And I decided it would be nice to do one bringing in more world music influences, but also anyway, it became this one, Celtic Earth. And Celtic Earth brought in the idea was that Celtic tribes came across from Germany and some down through Spain, and they came to Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Cornwall, and the music travelled across the earth, but also later on Celtic music travelled around the world, and whereas for quite a time now you would say that virtually every city in the world has a blues band, that in my time I've seen that virtually every city in the world has a Celtic band of some kind, Irish, Scottish. And the other thing is that Celtic music has travelled around the world and influenced American fiddle music, for example, and country music. So that's Celtic Earth, and that won an award. I really like this one, but we never got the thing. We never got the obelisk. I don't know why. We know it was black, but it never appeared. So we don't know what happened to that. Maybe lost in the post, but they did win another one of those awards. Next, I did have a special guest on that, my friend Mo Coulson on Celtic harp, and we went on to make several albums together. And my friend Carl Pebbly on sitar tabla for a bit of a Indian world music bit on it. Next, we needed Adele sometimes couldn't get to gigs, well, for quite a period when she had kids, and so we brought in another fiddle player, Roger Wilson, who is a very, that's himself there on the end, a very respected singer-songwriter and violinist in the folk world. And he joined us, but when she was able to come out and rejoin the band, we decided it was fun having two fiddles, and we've stayed that way ever since. It's also a guarantee if one of them's poorly, we've got another fiddle. Fiddle can make it, but no, it's been our twin fiddle attack, as it were. Roger joined us just as we were asked to do a Christmas album, Celtic Christmas by Paradise Label. I wasn't very keen because I spent years of my life playing Christmas carols in bars and restaurants, and I kind of got worn out of Christmas carols. They still made me flinch a little bit, but they were super keen on doing it, and I found a way around it. I made some arrangements where I was kind of treating them like jigs and reels, if you know what I mean, jigs and reels and airs, and we found some Celtic carols and other things, and it became many people's favourite Christmas album. People have told us over the years that's their thing they put on Christmas Day, which is very nice to hear. And yeah, and I think it also, music from this got associated with a big animated picture, How to Train Your Dragon, or something like that. It was used either in a clip in the film, but it got used in a bonus disc that came with it of a fireplace, and all of these of our music got played on it. So that was an unexpected connection. The thing about doing the albums for the label, it wasn't really like we were playing live, and we, of course, the bulk of our work was in pubs and events and weddings and functions, what have you. But we thought it was time we made our own album ourselves, and especially with Roger on board, it became a project to learn and build up our repertoire, and we decided to have original songs on board. So songs from myself, Dan and Roger, as well as traditional tunes on there. So yeah, that was The Endless Road. Now this was my thing really. I realized that we had done Healing Waters, Celtic Fire, Celtic Earth, and I wanted to do Celtic Air to make it the 4 elements, like a quadrilogy. So the band were less keen, as we were selling fewer albums, to be honest, fewer CDs. People weren't buying CDs or listening to CDs much anymore. But Celtic Air was made, and they did sessions on it. And Bridget and my friend Mo Coulson was on it. And it was a fun album to make. I enjoyed it, but the record company originally weren't going to make it as a CD, but I'm really glad they did. Just that all 4 of them made it out. Earth, Air, Fire, and Water was done. And I guess the air was represented by a lot more of my flutes and whistles are on this too, for the air element. Then we thought, having done The Endless Road with our own songs and tunes, we thought we'd do another one. And here it is as I Roved Out. And a similar principle, new tunes to learn and put on, and also original songs by me, Roger, and Dan in there as well, and some traditional songs. So that was a nice one to have done. As I mentioned, CDs stopped being bought or sold, but sometimes people still want them. So we did make this little card wallet compilation of the 2 albums we made for ourselves. It's my favourite bits from them. But we also included, for our 30th anniversary, it's called the Govannen collection. You can only buy these at concerts. For our 30th anniversary, we recorded a cover song, Sweet Marie, and features Bridget back from Ireland again to do sing on it. And it's a Hothouse Flowers song. And why did we record that? Well, 30 years ago, Sweet Marie by the Hothouse Flowers was the song we heard Bridget and Adele sing at that acoustic club that Dan and I saw them at all that long ago. So, and by chance, Bridget ran into Liam from Hothouse Flowers on a train. So when she told us about that, we thought it would be nice to record it with her. And she sent it to Liam, and he heard it and he liked it. So that's nice. And it brings our cycle back to where we met 30 years ago. You can hear Sweet Marie by Govannen on Spotify and some other streaming places. So you can hear that there. Right, so 30 years. Time flies, but we're still going and still enjoy playing together. And I hope you come and see us play someday. And we always have a lot of fun. So thanks for listening to Govannen for all this time, and have a listen to our records. Take care. Bye. I'll do this again in another 30 years. So.